Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. In this tutorial we'll be learning how to build a mobile responsive website using HTML and CSS. As you can see on the screen, this is the desktop view of my website. So let's take a look at the mobile view. This is the mobile view. As you can see on the screen, this is the menu bar, as you can see. So let's take a look at the view on iPad. This is the view on iPad mini. You can see on the screen, this is the view on iPad mini. So on iPad Pro 11, let's take a look at the view on iPad Pro 11. As you can see on the screen, and this is the view on desktop. So we'll be learning how to build this mobile responsive website. Let's start the code now. The first thing to do is to go to our XAMPP folder and locate our htdoc. From our XAMPP folder, we locate our htdoc environment, the htdoc location. So here we can open a new folder and we can name the folder. Let's name the folder web, my web. Just let's name it my web. So inside this folder, my web, we'll be having a folder because we'll be having an image. As you can see on the screen, here we have image, and we have a video. We also have the mobile view. We also have the icon bar, as you can see. So we are going to create a folder for image, folder for icon, and folder for video, and that folder for video inside our folder name my web. So I have some icon here, image and video, so I can copy and paste before we start the code. So I have some icon, image and video that I'll be using. I'll be using this video. I'll be using some image here, an icon also, so I can copy the three, then paste it in my web2 folder. So let's go to Visual Studio now because we'll be using Visual Studio. So this is our Visual Studio environment. The first thing to do now is to go to File, then click on Open Folder, and go to our htdoc location. Where we save our file. So folder my web, we open the folder my web on Visual Studio. So this is our folder now. As you can see, the icon, image and video is already there. as you can see on the screen. So the first thing to do now is to create our home page. This home page, we're going to create the home page. I want to create this home page now. So inside our my web folder, we create a file, HTML file. We name the HTML file home.html. home.html. So let's start coding now. So the first thing to do now, HTML. Let's use HTML snippets. So we name the web title AY web. AY web. So let's save it now. AY web. So let's save it and check our browser. So let's open a new browser and we can copy this on our then the name of our folder is my web slash home.html. Let's load it now. As you can see, AY web. So our page is still blank. So let's continue the code now. Let's go back to our Visual Studio. So the first thing to do now, inside our body tag, let's have a div tag. And this div tag will be our container. Let's class it and name it container. So inside the div container, we'll be having another div. So let's name this class navbar. So inside this navbar, so the first heading H3, and this H3, let's class it class. So this class will be used to style our website. H3 name, and this is AY web. So inside our div container, we'll be having also the nav. So inside the nav bar, we'll be having UL. Inside the UL, we'll be having our list, LI. So we can list LI. So this will be our home. Then we'll we'll be referring it later. So you can copy now. The next is about us. copy about us and rename it about us. So the next on the list now, let's go to our browser and check. As you can see here, we have home, about us. So the next is services, and this services drop down menu, as you can see. So let's go back to our code. We'll be having another list. So inside the list, we are going to class this ID. Let's give this one ID, menu list. So inside here, we are going to class our drop down menu. Let's class it as class. So let's class it drop down. Let's name it drop down. Let's name it drop down. So inside the headline, we'll be having another div. So let's class it. Class. The div will be drop down button. Let's name it drop down. Drop down btn button. So this drop down button, the name it will be surfaces. We'll be having another div again. So let's class the div. This will be our content. Class content. Okay, let's name it drop down content. Drop down content. So inside the drop down content, we'll be having our content now. Issue. Then we'll be building websites. Build websites. So we can copy and paste it twice because we have two contents in our drop down. This one will be purchase. So purchase source code. So that's our drop down. When we save it now and reload our page, let's save it and reload our page. So as you can see, now this is our drop down, home, about us, surface, and this is our content, build the website, purchase source code. So let's go back to our code. The next on the list now is contact us at login and register. So we can copy this. Let's copy this. Then we paste here. We paste it here. We can rename it contact us. Contact us. Let's rename it login. And this one register. And let's save it now and check. Let's reload our browser. As you can see, contact us, login and register. So we also, when we take a look at the mobile view, we also have icon bar, the mobile view. As you can see, the icon menu, this icon menu. So let's include the icon menu at the navigation bar. So we want to include the icon menu now. Let's go back to our code. So this is our code. So outside the nav bar, outside this nav, we are going to ing, then the source. The source is from icon. Icon. Let me use this icon 8. This is the source. So the icon will be clickable. So let's use on click because we'll be writing a Java code later. On click, toggle menu. Toggle menu. Toggle menu as a function. On click toggle menu. So let's close our. Let's save it now and recheck. As you can see, this is our menu bar. This is our menu icon here. So we need to style it now. Let's style our web. So let's go back to our my web folder. Then we create another file. Let's name the file home.css. So inside our home.css, we'll be having some CSS code. So let's start the code now. Let's start from body, the body of our website. Font family. Let's choose this. So the container dot container. As you can see from our home.html, we have our div class container. So let's tie this container. Then later we style the navbar, h3 and container. So inside our container, the width of our container will be 105%. Minimum height 100 ph. Box sizing, border box, overflow hidden, margin right minus 1 em, margin left minus 0.6 em, margin top minus 0.6 em. So that's for our container. So when we take a look, so the next on the list is our nav bar. Let's style our nav bar now. Dot nav bar width 100%, display flex, align item center, and border. Now let's use background, not border, background. We are going to use linear gradient. Let's use light green and white. So let's save it and check our web. So before we check our web, let's go back to our home.html and change and code link. Write this code here, link rl equals style sheet. Then we also have then you refer it home.css. So let's save it now and check our browser. So as you can see now, so let's go back to our CSS code. So the next on the list now is our class h3 name. You can copy it. Dot class h3 name. Font family. Let me use bandana. Let me use this. And then color. Let me use, you can use any color that you like, but let me use pink, or I can use this. Use any color that you like. So margin left 10 pixels. So let's save it now and check our browser. So as you can see, easy. So let's go back to our code, our CSS code. The next on the list, let's continue our styling. So let's style our nav. This nav. I want to style this nav. Our nav flex 1. Text align. Text align. Center. So that's our nav. So the next nav ULLI list style none. Display inline block. Margin 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 right 30 pixels. So let's style our nav ULLIA text decoration none. So our nav over now, nav ULLIA, then the over of our content. Color will be white. So let's save it and check our page. So as you can see now, so let's tie these surfaces. Let's tie these surfaces. This is our drop down. This is our drop down menu. So let's style it. Let's go back to our code. As you can see here, from our home.html, we have the class drop down button, and we have class drop down content. So we are going to style the three. Let's start from class drop down now. Dot drop down display inline flex. Let me use inline flex now. Overflow hidden. Color. Let's use light green. or you can use anything. You can use any color. Let's use blue. So the next now is our drop down button. Dot drop down drop down button. Drop down button. Font size 16. Border none. Border none. Outline. Outline will be none. Color. Color. Let's use light slate gray. Background color inherit. Font family inherit. Then margin 0. So let's type the content. This drop down content. Let's type it. Drop down content. Dot drop down content. Display will be none. Display none. Position absolute. Background linear gradients. Linear gradient. Let's use light green. Light green and yellow. You can use any color that you like. Minimum width 160 pixels. Box sizing. Let me use box shadow. Box shadow 0 pixel 8 16 0. Then Z index 1. So drop down content A. Drop down content A. The link float, none. Color, white. Text decoration, none. Display will be block. Display block. Text align, center. No, text align, let's left. Sorry, left. Margin. The margin button, 8 pixels. So the drop down hover now, drop down. The drop down content hover. Background. Background color, white. Color, let's use blue violet. Then dots drop down. Dot drop down, over. Dot drop down, content. Display block. So let's save it and reload our page. As you can see, now. So our menu bar is no more visible because from our code, let's go back to our code. So we need to class our menu bar now. Let's class our menu bar. We need to class our menu bar. Dot menu icon. Let's check our menu icon. So let's class our menu icon. This is our menu icon. Let's class it. Class menu icon. So let's go back to our CSS now. Dot menu icon. Dot menu icon. Width 25 pixel. Cursor pointer. display none. So let's reload our page now. As you can see, let's go back to our code. So back to our code. When we change this display equals block, and we save our file, let's go back to the top to our container. The width of our container should be 100. So let's go back to our menu icon. Display equals block. As you can see on the screen now, let's go back and reload our page. So these are, as you can see now, these are menu icon. But since we are coding the desktop view, so this menu icon on the desktop view will be invisible. Display will be none. So that's why we will set our menu icon to none. Display equals none on mobile view, on desktop view rather. Display will be none. And when we save our code and go back to our web browser, then we reload our browser, so you can see now the menu icon is invisible. So it will be visible only on mobile view. So let's go back to our code now. So the next on the list now is to set up our background image. As you can see on our, to set up our background image, this background image with this. So let's start now. So before this background image, okay, let's start the background image first. Let's go back to our code. Then HTML, home.html. So outside the div container now, we'll be having a section. Let's name it a section. Then let's class it. Class. Let's name it background BGD. Then inside the background, we'll be having another div. We'll be having a div, and the name of the div will be test. Inside the div test, let's have some tests. H4. Because of time, let's go back to our browser. Let's copy and paste. Learn skills. Let's go back to our code. So that's the heading of our text. And we're having paragraph also P. So let's go back and copy and paste developer. Let's go back to our code and paste it. So we'll be having image. Now a label, let's just call it a label, not image now. A label. Then let's tie the label. Just tie it here. Border radius. Border radius. Border radius 10% is okay. 10% is okay. Then let's bold it. Font weight. Font weight. Bold. Then the background color now. Background color. Color. Background color. Let me use yellow. You can use a background gradient. You can use a gradient based on what you want to. So here will be. Okay, let me scroll so you can see clearly. Here now you can put 50% off. 50% off. So I think that is all for the test. Let's save and check. Let's save and check. Let's go back to our browser. Let's reload the page. As you can see now, no, this is our main browser. Let's reload the page. So as you can see, this is our test. So we can also style it. So the background image now. Let's go back to our code. Then the background, this background image class BGT. So let's get the background image. .bgd .bgd bgd background image URL, and then we have image my, let me use my Pix4. This is my background image. Then background repeat, no repeat. Only what we need, only need a single image, no repeat. Color that I'll be using in the background, white. Background size, cover, width 100%, the width of the background, and the height of the background 500 pixels. Position, relative, display flex. So let's save now and reload our page to check. So as you can see now, this is our background image now and the text you can see. So let's type this text. Let's go back to our dot text, maximum width 50%, margin top 40 pixel, margin left 15 pixel. When we save it, let's reload. As you can see now, so let's go back to our code. You can change this to green. Let's change our go back to our HTML and let's change this from yellow to green. So let's load our page now. As you can see, 50% off. So the next on the list, as you can see from here now, we have this text and button. So let's code this now. Let's go back to our after the section tag. After the section tag, we'll be having a div. And the name of the div, let's class it grid container. We're going to use grid here, grid container. Then inside this grid container, we're having another div. And the name of the div, let's class the div as split item. Grid item. So inside this grid item, we're having a text. Ebook website. can also have some image, ing source. I don't have image for that. No image for that now. JPEG. So there is no image. Then the hot now. Let's close it. Now we'll be having button, a button tag. Then without that button tag, because the button is linked, will be linked to another page. So let's start from A, H river. We have no page for now. So button now. The button. Purchase code. So inside this button we'll be having an image. As you can see from the screen, inside this button we have an image. So let's go back to our code. ing image, ing, then the source. The source of the image now is from our icon and our icon folder. Right, let me use right arrow 1, right arrow 1.png. So let's close the image tag. So when we save our file now and check, let's save our file now and check. Let's reload our page. This is our page, so let's reload it. So as you can see, this is our button, our image. So we need to style it now to have a proper button, to have a perfect button. So let's go back to our code, our CSS code. So dot grid container. The first class is grid container. Grid container dot grid container display inline flex position relative grid template columns auto, then padding 25 pixels. So let's type the grid item also. Dot grid item padding 100 100 pixels. Width 120 pixels. Text align center. So let's type the button now. I think we need to class this button. Let's class the button. Class btn. So let's save it and go back to our CSS file, CSS code. So our btn now, .btn width 140 pixels to change the white, border 0, no border, then padding, let's use 12, 10 pixels. Outline none. Color white. Then background gradient, let's use linear gradient. Linear gradient to right, I'll be using #FB 5283. #FF 3B27. So that's the background. The border radius now. Border radius 6 pixels. Cursor pointer. Transition with 0.5 seconds. So let's save it now and recheck. Let's reload our page. As you can see, so we need to style this arrow, this image. We need to style it. So let's style the image. Let's go back to our code. .btn image. This image inside the btn. Width 30 pixels is okay. So let's save it and reload our page. So as you can see now, this is the image. This is the arrow. So we need to display will be none. So display will be none for now. Display none. So on hover, display will be visible. So .btn hover image display block. So let's save it now and reload our page. Or before that, let's go .btn hover. .btn hover. btn hover. The width 160 pixel. Display flex. Align item center. Justify center. Justify content, space between. So let's save our code now. Then let's go back to our browser and refresh. You can see the arrow is no more visible, but on hover, as you can see now. So let's go back to our code, home HTML. So you can copy and paste it. Let's copy and paste this. You can paste it twice. You can change this. You can change this contents. Let's save it. Let's reload our page. As you can see, 1, 2, 3. So the next on the list now is our video. As you can see from here, we have video here. So let's go back to our browser, our source code. So our video now, we'll be using session. Let's use session again for video. Session. So the name of the session is, let's class it video. Let's name it video. So inside the video, inside the session, we'll be having a video. We'll be having a video. So let's class the video now. Let's size the video. The video width 320. Then the height of the video. Height of the video. Let's use 240. 240. And control. Let's have a control. So inside this video tag, we'll be having a source. The source of the video. So I have one video from my video file, video folder, as you can see from here. We have video and file, and I will be using mrb.mp4. Video slash mrb.mp4. That's the name of my. Then the type of this video now, type. So you type mp4, type mp4 video slash mp4. That's the type of the video. So that is that. So let's save it now and check our web browser. You can see now this is our video. This is our video now, as you can see. So we have our video here. So let's go back to our code. We can paste it twice. Or once. We can paste it once. Maybe we'll be having two video. It depends. Then we can also center it. We can center our video. Let's center it. Center. Then you can cut this. Close the center here. And you save it. Let's reload our page now. As you can see, our video is now at the center. So the next on the list now is our footer. Let's code our footer. I want to close this payments method, visa, all this. So let's go back to our code. So for our footer now, we'll be having a div folder. A div tag, we'll be having a div tag. Let's class the div footer. So inside our footer, we'll be having another div. And let's class the div. Class payment. We don't need to class this. So inside the div now, we'll be having a text. You can class this text as payment. And the text will be payment method. So inside the div, we'll be having image, img, and the source of the image now be from an icon slash. The first icon now is master class, is Mastercard. Let me use this Mastercard. Mastercard, hot, in case no, we don't need hot for this. Then the width of the icon. The width of the icon 30 pixels, okay. The height 25 pixels. So that is also, you can copy and paste for Visa card and other icons. You can copy and paste. I think we have 4. Let's change this one. Visa card. Visa card. Visa credit card. So we also have Bitcoin. Then the last, Ethereum. We also have USDC. So when we save now and check, so before that, maybe we need to, I think we need to style this div. Style, text align, center. Text align center. Then margin button. Margin button. Margin button. So let's save it now and reload our browser. As you can see now, we have the footer here. So let's go back to our code. And the next footer now, the next footer content, we're having a div. Now inside this div, you can have this at 2022. Alright, result. Now we'll be having another a tag. This will be linked to another page. All easy. So I think that is all. So we also have in the footer tag, in the footer container, we have another div. Another div, and the name of the div. Okay, let's style it here. Before we do that, we'll be having a tag. In this a tag, it is linkable. So we link for this later. So inside this A tag, we're having an image. So an icon, the source of the icon will be from icon. So as you can see from here, from our page here, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, then Instagram. So let's go back to our code. Icon Facebook, that's the source. You can close it now. Then the width and the height, the same width and height. Let's copy this because of time. The width and height of the, and paste it. Width and height of the Facebook icon 30, 20, 25. So let's copy and paste this code. I think 4 or 5 times. So let's change the image name. And next we have Twitter. Next again we have YouTube. I think Instagram. So let's save it now and reload our page. This is our page. Let's save it and reload our page. So let's check what we have. As you can see now, we have Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. So let's style it now to have a better view. So let's style it. Let's go to this div. Here. So let's style it. Let's send the style float right. So we want this Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram to float right. So when we refresh our page now, you can see float right. So let's go back to our code now. Then from here, class footer. Let's tie the old footer. Let's go to home.css footer background. Let's use Linear gradient. Maybe we should use light green and white. Light green and white. Then padding 10 pixel, width 100%. Then the height of, let me use 110 pixel. So let's save it now and load our web. As you can see now, So this is our web page. So the next, now let's take a look at the mobile view. So before the mobile view, let's check the footer a tag. Let's go to our CSS code, dot footer a tag, dot footer, so that we can style it very well. A, margin right, margin right 10 pixel, font size large, text decoration none. So let's save it and check. As you can see now, it's okay now. So let's take a look at the mobile view. Right. So this is the mobile view now. So let's style the mobile view. We need to style the mobile view. Let's go to our CSS code. So at media, at media, at media, at media only, screen, and maximum width, maximum width equals let's use 800 pixel. So the menu icon will be visible now because we are trying to code the mobile. Dot menu icon, dot menu icon, display will be blocked. Now before display, the menu icon display is none, but display will be blocked now. And the margin right 15 pixel. So the nav flex 1, text align center. Nav UL width 100%, background color. Let's use background now. We're using linear gradient. So let's use light green, or we should use light green and yellow. Let's use light green and yellow. Color, color white. Position absolute. Top 50 pixel. And the right 0. z indents 2. So the nav UL LIA. Okay, let's nav UL LI now. Before LIA, nav UL LI. Let's try to style the list. Display will be block. Margin top, ten pixel. Margin bottom, same thing, 10 pixel. So let's type the nav ULLIA. Text decoration, none. Color, white. Margin right, margin right, minus 15 EM. So the UL now, UL display will be none. Display none. So let's save and reload our page. Let's save and reload our page. So as you can see now, this is our menu icon. All the home, about us, login is inside this menu icon, but when we click it now, nothing happened. So let's try to write some JavaScript code. Let's go back to our home.html. So inside our home.html, you can see this menu icon tag. You can see it here, menu icon tag. On click toggle function, toggle menu function. We are going to write a JavaScript for this. So let's go back outside our div container. Outside our div container, so JavaScript scripts. So inside the script, function toggle menu, function toggle menu. So var, let me use variable x equals document dot get element by id. So the name of our id now, we want to get the element from this. from our ID. This is the name of our ID. From our UL ID menu list. So let's go back. So copy the ID name, go back to our scripts and paste it. So you close. If open bracket x dot style, if x dot style dot display equals block, if it is equals block, then x dot display dot style dot display dot style dot display will be equals none. So else x dot style dot display x dot style dot display will be equals block. So let's save and check our browser. Let's check our browser now. So let's reload our mobile. So when we reload now and click, as you can see now, you can see this. You can now access our home, about us, contact us, all contact lists. We can now access it. So let's move this services to this side, to the right side. So to do that, let's go back to our code, to our home.css, then our drop down menu now. Our drop down menu. Drop down menu. Drop down. Drop down margin. We're going to set the margin. Margin right will be minus 13. Let's use minus 13 here. Display inline block overflow hidden. So that is all. So and we can also set the button color. Drop down drop down button. Color, let's set it to white. Let's save our page. Then let's reload our mobile view. Let's click, as you can see now. So this is our mobile view now. I think that is all for now. So let's take a look at the view on iPad. So as you can see, this is the view on iPad. On iPad Pro, this is the view on iPad Mini Pro. So this is the video now, as you can see. So that's the video. So I think that's all for now. So in the next video, we'll be learning how to build the login register form, the login register and the contact form, the contact us, the login and the register form in our next video. So viewers, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, you can subscribe to my channel so that you'll be able to watch the next lesson. Thank you.